technology is getting to be such an X factor that if you don't learn how to apply it well, it can be fatal. In other words, you can look at industries, and the people who learn to apply it well, they prosper. The people who do not apply it well, again, in some cases, they lay down and die. I mean, they just lay down and go bankrupt. And, when I say this to people, and we talk about, technology Darwinism, they're like, well, that's a little harsh. Really? You look in the photography space. Was it harsh there? I mean, Kodak went bankrupt. 135,000 employees. One of the largest brand names in the world went bankrupt. Well, at the same time, 135,000 employees, they don't have that now, right? They went bankrupt. Instagram is what? Not even 3 years old and sells for $1 billion? And how many employees did Instagram have, by the way? Who knows how many employees did they have when they sold for $1 billion? Close. Add 5 more to it. 11, right? So you're in the right scale. But I mean, think about that, the winners and losers. Or if we wanted to test out how old some of you are, how many people here got your picture taken by Olin Mills when you were young? Raise your hand. Raise it. Raise it. I want to see the hands. You're old. Okay? Because Olin Mills is gone. They didn't make the switch, right, in the photography world to a digital. Right? There are winners and losers. People will ask us sometimes, they'll say, dude, when you go into a company and you only got 10 minutes, what's the first thing that you look at to see, are they going to be excellent with technology? And for us, it really is looking at the executive team. We can sit down, talk to an executive team, the C-suite usually, for 20 minutes and ask some questions. And it becomes painfully clear whether they're probably going to be able to be excellent with using technology or not. And internally, we have this phrase, we talk about dead leaders walking. In other words, people who are in leadership roles, they're just not leading. I mean, they're managing. Right? They're herding things, they're managing, but they have no vision. And they don't have the courage to make the investments they need to make in technology. And so, to us, they're kind of dead leaders walking. They have a leadership position, they're just really not leading. That's what we see. And so you see it because they'll say things like this. Hey, Scott, we're making money. You don't understand. We hear this from bankers all the time, and we hear it in the insurance space all the time. Hey, we've been making money for 40 years. Did you not see our commercials on TV? I mean, we've been killing it. What makes you think we would go be the next Kodak? Really? Here's the deal. Technology comes together to create an inflection point in an industry at different times. Right? It hit the travel industry back in the mid-90s when the airlines could connect directly to travelers and they put the travel agents out of business. Right? It hit the music space at a different time when digital music and MP3 players and Napster and all these things came together, and all of a sudden Apple comes out and takes the whole retail business away from the industry. Right? It happened in the book space and Borders died. It will happen in insurance. It just hasn't happened yet. It will happen. And I've heard people in P&C go, oh, Scott, it'll happen in car insurance and it'll happen in health. It's not going to happen in P&C. Right? I don't know how many times I have heard people say, hey, we're making money. Now, I'm sure that's what Blockbuster said, right up until the time they weren't making money. And I am sure, again, let's check your age. How many people here's mother bought from Spiegel Catalog? Spiegel Catalog, raise your hand. Admit that you're old. Yeah? Because Spiegel went out of business. And they were around at the turn of the century and couldn't make it into the e-commerce world. All right? And I'm sure at Spiegel somebody said, we've been making money since 1900. Surely it's going to go on forever. Right? But it doesn't. If you were to absolutely maximize everything that you could do with digital plumbing, digital marketing, right? Both sides of technology, right? The outreach and then the organizational lean. You said that's it. But you have organizations that choose, either consciously or unconsciously because they're ignorant, they choose to not use all of it. Then what happens is they basically create risk. And so we call it a technology risk gap. So they introduce risk because they're not maximizing everything they could be doing with the tools. Now, there's lots of excuses for why they don't do this. One is, well, the leaders don't understand it. Another one is they get tired of making investments, or they're weak-willed, right? They don't have the courage to make investments. And so, we could look at being fantastic with data, for instance. And they'll say, well, Scott, we got databases, we got data warehouses, we got data marts, we're doing MDM, we got an ODS, right? They'll tell me all this kind of stuff. Right? But that doesn't mean that you're excellent with data. It means that you got like 60% of the way there. Right? So when you introduce these risks, you're risking things like, if you don't understand how to use digital marketing well, you might not know how to build a connection with your customers that is tight as maybe your competitors can do. Or maybe your products aren't as relevant. Why? Maybe you don't deliver your products on a mobile application the way you could or the way you should. And because you don't provide functionality at the point of presence, your products just aren't as valid as they could be. Or you're not getting as good enough employees, right? It's one of the things people don't think about is companies who choose to not be excellent with technology, the young A players, right? The 20-year-olds who are A players, they look at the world as, I could work for the Flintstones or I could work for the Jetsons, right? And I promise you they do not want to work for the Flintstones.